We are going to turn now to housing. We touched on it briefly, but we're going deeper here. The price for home ownership remains out of reach for many low and middle class families in Washington. According to Redfin, the median home price in our state is up more than 52% from 2020. Now, with that as the backdrop, here is a question from viewer Ryan Donahue from Renton.
What specific policies would you advocate for to increase the availability of affordable home ownership?
Now, if you were unable to hear that question, Ryan said, what specific policies would you advocate for to increase the availability of affordable home ownership? Dr. Garcia.
Well, unfortunately, housing is a big issue in our state, and one that we should pay very close attention to and give more resources to. Now, this is largely a state issue, but the federal government, we spend a lot of money helping states with housing. My wife was a product of affordable housing, and I remember, when I got here from Cuba, my mother and I lived in an apartment that is half the size of this studio, that we paid $110 a month. She lived in that apartment for 24 years until I graduated from a residency and was able to buy her a home. And I remember the picture of her face when she came into her new home. What our friend is asking us is about being able to have that affordability to buy a home. And I want to come up with something that, according to results, bringing science into politics, has worked. VA loans have worked because veterans don't have to come up with a down payment to buy a house. I want to turn that into the regular public. Let's have programs with our lenders that our regular citizens could afford to buy a house without a down payment. They still have to qualify, but in our economy today, it's very hard to come up with a down payment. The other idea is zero-based regulations. Let's start building more homes with less obstacles so we could find a true solution.
Dr. Garcia, let me ask you a little bit about the impediments to building that you referenced. Are you talking about zoning, or what are you referring to that you as U.S. Senator could influence? 30 seconds, please.
Well, I have a lot of contractor friends that want to build, but they say permits are multiple. The time that it takes for them to try and build is excessive. The regulations are not about safety of housing. There are other regulations that don't pertain to fast access to building these affordable housings. And truly, they tell me, when we finish with it, it's not affordable because of all the regulations that we have had to follow.
I'm sorry, you're out of time there.